Meanwhile, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced senators today on Capitol Hill for his first of two confirmation hearings. He's President Donald Trump's pick to be Secretary of Health and Human Services.
In my advocacy, I've often disturbed the status quo by asking uncomfortable questions. Well, I'm not going to apologize for that. We have massive health problems in this country that we must face honestly.
Kennedy faced questions about his views on vaccines, reproductive rights, and other health issues. Dr. Amit Jadolja is here with us now. He is an infectious disease physician and senior scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health and Security. Dr. Jadolja, thank you so much for being here with us on such a critical day as we wait to see what happens with RFK Jr. with regards to his confirmation. So, Doctor, thank you for being with us. What's your reaction to how RFK handled questions today from senators?
I think it was evasive and trying to sort of rewrite reality regarding some of his dangerous views on vaccines and other topics that have been well publicized for the last 20 years. And he's published on these. There's video of him talking about these things, and he's trying to make it sound like this is just him questioning the status quo, when really what he's trying to do is, promote harmful misinformation and profit from it.
So give us a sense of how the Health and Human Services Secretary impacts public health policy. How could his views and policies potentially impact the average person when they visit the doctor's office or the emergency room or when they get a prescription filled?
So HHS, the Health and Human Services, it houses the Centers for Disease Control, which is our major public health agency, which makes recommendations for which vaccines people should get, when they should get them, what insurance should cover which vaccines. All of that comes from HHS and from CDC policy. So I think that if you have someone that's helming the department that doesn't really believe in the germ theory of disease, that doesn't believe vaccines are efficacious, that has this kind of go back to nature view of infectious disease, that's going to send a kind of a chilling effect all the way through the department, and it will redound on people in terms of how willing they are to get vaccines, what information they hear about vaccines, who's on the advisory committees for CDC, for FDA. All of that is something that the secretary is going to have control over. And if you've got someone like that with that type of ideology, this nihilist ideology, which is what I think of as RFK Jr., it's going to attract more of those types of people to the department, and that's going to influence the guidance. And yes, you'll still be able to get vaccines, you'll still be able to do all of that stuff, but what it's doing is kind of normalizing this kind of, wicked skepticism about what I think are one of humankind's greatest technological achievements, and that's a vaccine.
We don't know what's going to happen just yet. As I mentioned, this is the first of two hearings. It is possible that he will get confirmed into this role. So what, if any, guardrails are there once if he's confirmed to be HHS Secretary within the department to help guard against some of those issues?
It's going to be very hard because he's going to put people that are in agreement with his irrational views in positions of power. They're already starting to happen. We've already seen who the designated CDC director is, who also shares many anti-vaccine sentiments as RFK Jr. And I don't think that the president or the West Wing is going to put much constraints, because President Trump has said he's going to let RFK Jr. go wild on health. And what that really means, he's going to let infectious diseases go wild amongst us. So I'm afraid that there aren't going to be very many guardrails put in place to stop HHS from kind of voicing RFK Jr.'s pet causes. And I think we're all going to be worse off. But this was completely predictable, and what we've seen is President Trump pandering to the anti-vaccine movement. He sort of is doing kind of an apology tour for Operation Warp Speed, which is one of the greatest achievements of the Trump administration. And now he's moved over to the anti-vaccine side and has emboldened their biggest spokesperson and put him in a position of power that we will all have to pay for.
Dr. Jaldra, on the flip side of things, RFK has really spoken out about making our food supply much healthier. On social media, you see all of these things that compare the coloring in food in European countries, for example, to here in the United States. And this appears to have bipartisan support. How long would it take to realistically see positive changes in the ingredients of our foods if someone like an RFK Jr. is able to actually push those changes through at HHS?
Well, I'm an infectious disease doctor, so I don't have much to say about food coloring other than that if RFK Jr. has proven that he doesn't view the scientific method as valid, how can you trust him to actually make good decisions regarding chronic diseases? And when it comes to food, he's advocating people drink raw milk. So I don't know that I have any confidence in his ability to do anything positive at all. When a person has that kind of an irrational mindset, you can't expect anything good to come from it. It's all going to be through his lens, which is very, very distorted. So I'm not positive about any kind of health effect that RFK Jr. will have. I think he's there to destroy health, not to promote it.
Dr. Amish Adolja from Johns Hopkins University. Doctor, thank you so much for being here with us on a critical day as RFK went through his first of 2 confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much, sir.